This is the price you pay.
Pretty picture, isn't it?
It's nasty, but it doesn't connect Solomon to the nuke. What else do you have, Sergeant?
What else do I have? What else do I need? You just saw him murder Miller.
Look in the mirror, Sergeant. You and your buddy Demas' fingerprints are all over this story.
Are you a fucking cop? I mean, whose side are you on?
Look, you're in the same room where this video was taken. You're at the bank where they found the nuke. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right. We found the 3 nuke racks. The torn up maps. Solomon was on the security monitor with al-Bashir.
The building's gone. Your evidence is gone. You got nothing.
Yes. All right, when was this? You're sure? Okay, thanks. Well, it appears one of Solomon's aliases just hit the grid here in New York.
There you go.
So I guess your story checks out.
Al-Bashir was real clear about Solomon being his right-hand man.
Was he? When?
When we went after him. Campo and me.
Lisbon 1-3, this is Lisbon 1-4, waiting inbound. What's your status?
1-3 is set, over.
Roger that. We're closing fast. Out.
Hi everyone, Broman Jenkins here, and welcome back to Battlefield 3. In this mission, we're going to be a stealthy sniper, and yeah, that's not really a good move for this game, to be honest. I've done this audio a few times, and I find myself talking over almost everything, because there's only really a couple plot-relevant things in this mission, and they come about midway through and right at the very end. And after that, it's just all this sneaking around, kind of pointlessly stuff. And as a matter of fact, you'll see this mission doesn't serve as a really cool kind of stealth sniper mission that things like All Gillied Up in Modern Warfare did, but rather it serves as a stark reminder that this game is not Modern Warfare, and the scripting is kind of off in a lot of ways. And we'll get to that when we get to it. I had to cut this quite a bit to get it down below 20, or down below the 26-minute limit I've kind of imposed on myself, and even then it comes in at 26:59. There's probably a good 4 minutes I cut there as the Osprey was landing, and another few minutes at the very beginning, and there's a couple scenes I cut out almost entirely because it's just straight up me sitting there shooting with no conversations or plot relevant details. And when we do get to those sections, I'll let you know. There's also one editing mistake I made that would take another day to really fix and encode again, so it's in there. So here, this section here is serving just as kind of a quick tutorial on how to snipe, those lights and then this guy, just reminding you how it works. The sniper rifle we have is a one-shot kill because it's bolt action, which is how video game sniper rifles work. It's always a one-shot kill if it's bolt action, just like pump shotguns are more powerful. And it's silenced. That doesn't seem to make any big difference in single player, outside of the fact that it doesn't make as much noise. Enemies are scripted to find you or not find you, no matter what weapon you have in this game, it seems. Even that first section where I thought the game scripted the game wouldn't let the other guys find me because I had a silencer on my gun, was probably scripted, now that I think about it. But that's kind of getting beyond what we're doing. Of course, these guys are also scripted to look away from you, even though there was a giant Osprey that just went right past everyone. But, you know, whatever. So, up here is the editing mistake I was talking about. I'm going to climb this wall, and then I'm going to help Campo over, and then I'm going to help Campo over. You'll see. It was something I probably should have caught, but I went by frame details rather than by anything else. So there's a point where he turns around, and it looks exactly like it does when he first turns around on the wall. So instead of catching it where I should have, I caught it there. That's my mistake. Of course, the reason that this cut is in here is because of the scripting in this game. Campo sees this guy and tells you not to get shot by him. But if you run ahead of Campo, which is kind of traditional based on the rest of this game, you'll get shot by him. He's a one-shot kill. And a lot of that is because throughout this entire game so far, there's never been a consequence to running ahead of your AI-controlled teammates. No one pops up out of somewhere or anything like that. You can, if you know where the objective is, puts the marker on your screen, running straight ahead has no negative impact on you. Alright, so I'm going to cut here to get on top of the roof. And here's where the game screws up again. I'll explain it when I get to it.
Nearby. Have 2 PLR fighters blocking route. Clear the way. Over.
Roger.
So we have 2 PLR fighters in our way.
There they are.
And then it says, street dead ahead, right of the van. Here's the van. I think these are the PLR guys hiding, but then I realized they're Marines, so I just realized, oh, to the right of those vans. I thought the game said left, actually, because I wasn't paying very much attention.
Cover them while they cross.
Yep. There's no more point for me to be up here. These guys got to cross safely, and we're done. I've got to say, it's hard not to do this commentary after I've beat the game and not talk about the ending of the game, because it's so bad, like aggressively bad, that it kind of reflects on everything else. I realize that the campaign mode in this game was secondary, and always was, but there's no excuse for the level of badness that the end story brings. It makes absolutely no sense. It leaves huge plot holes and no one to answer them. And it's just... there are things at the end of this game that were done definitely for cool factor. And I can understand that to an extent. But I would also expect some people who were working on the game would actually know what they were doing in terms of story and scripting and such. That does not seem to be the case. This mission is actually a pretty good example of a bad script and kind of plot holes that happen, between missions and all that stuff. For example, the coal being competent thing, that appears in this mission and the next mission, and that is it. That story arc is over and done with very quickly. This is actually a pretty cool sequence. You think you're going to get another just random street justice kill, and instead you get this nice little extended fight sequence, and you get reminded that Blackburn is pretty badass, because he just hands out tracheotomies like he does. But these guys show up, so you run. You can't fire back because the game keeps your knife equipped, and I think those guys might be invincible, and there's a good chance you're actually not able to get hurt here, though I did get a few suppressive shots near me.
Stay close.
Let's hop down here into our sewer level, and I'm going to cut most of this area out. However, I did keep in one important thing. This. Fucking Campo just phase shifted through that thing. He's a Tomorrow person. He just teleported right from one end to the other, apparently. That's the sort of technical issue this game kind of has in single player. It also has AI that decide that glass structures are really great cover and will hide with their back to you standing straight up against a knee-high wall, but that's a completely different story. The sniper rifle, like I said, is a one-shot kill because it's both action and single player, and I can't complain too much about it. I'm sure the higher difficulty levels it's actually going to be a multi-shot kill unless you get a headshot. But in this game, in this level, I actually started firing at people's legs just to get a different death animation. That's kind of sick, I guess. Your other weapon is this submachine gun that's also silenced. It seems to work pretty okay, but because stealth missions always go pear-shaped by the end of them, you get this, you basically get two weapons that are going to be very useless at the very end. Unfortunately, I take that stance early on and get kind of fucked for it.
This is it.
So we're about to go into the room where John Miller was killed.
This is where they did it.
Let's take a moment.
Misfit, This is Misfit 1-3. I'm in RV Delta. There's something here. How copy?
Can you be more specific, 1-3?
I'm seeing evidence that this is the location where Corporal Miller was executed.
Tiny, huge. See?
Camera set up everything.
Sergeant,
Tiny,
sure.
huge. 8.5,
Pretty sure.
17.
All right.
8.5, 17.
Many thanks.
Sorry, I
Capture the eastern quarter. The battlefield.
I really have trouble not messing with the
Let's finish it today.
with the scaling of objects in this engine. It's kind of funny. Of course, that's how most first-person shooters work, as I mentioned earlier in the game.
Wait for it.
This little firefight is totally acceptable. There's something I really like about Battlefield 3 firefights in dark rooms. It's that every enemy has a flashlight on their gun. So you're never going to have trouble really finding them, which is nice because half the time in these modern military shooters in a dark area, either it's too dark and you can't really make out everything, or the level is such that these guys are always behind cover and you don't know exactly where. This game does a really good job of just putting the flashlights on every gun and letting you know. Of course, there's some scripted stuff in here that doesn't quite work, because I kill everyone who comes near this door. However, it still gets kicked open. Yep. That guy must have been waiting there for a while, so he gets street justice.
Clear.
Yeah. And I like this little scripted moment there. I doubt it was scripted, but the little movement that guy made was pretty nice. Outside of that, see, Cole's trying to bring in Al-Bashir. Yeah, this is kind of the extent you get towards Cole being a fuck-up and people not liking him. And in the next mission, it's remembered again. And then after that, it doesn't even matter. Okay, let's wait for scripts.
It's Justin. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
A bunch of guys in there. Why are you running cover to cover? What's scripting in this game? You know, I honestly have to say, I'm not a huge fan of these stealth missions in first-person shooters, especially in modern military first-person shooters, because most games are geared toward action. The only game I felt like actually did these modern military stealth missions really well was the Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare 1. Modern Warfare 2 kind of threw those away in a lot of cases. But if you remember the first Modern Warfare game, let's wait for this. I'm going to try to progress while we wait for Cole here.
Update. Blackburn, Campo. We provide overwatch from this rooftop right here. We'll all be back at the mall and disaster. We have now confirmed Al-Bashir's location.
We take the shot?
Absolutely not. We need Al-Bashir alive. We need his intel on the nukes we found at the bank. I do not want a Bin Laden-style resolution. You understand?
We're on it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so there's a couple things to remember from that situation. We're told not to kill Al-Bashir, and the game actually says we don't want a Bin Laden-style resolution, which is odd because, if I remember correctly, this game was developed and released about 2 weeks or 3 weeks after or before Osama Bin Laden was killed. Not entirely sure, I should really check that. But that means that this game predicted the death of Osama Bin Laden via SEAL Team 6, essentially. Which is kind of interesting. Like I said, this game takes place in 2014, and that means that they've created a bit of their own fiction, and that's for better or for worse, but that's just a really weird kind of thing. Anyways, the only game that I felt really did these sniper missions and stealth missions kind of well in a Modern Warfare context is the first Modern Warfare. Outside of that, all of it feels kind of bad. And the reason it actually felt good in that game was because they gave you fucking loaded-to-bear silenced weapons. You're given an M16 with a silencer, a scope, and a grenade launcher, and you're told just, be quiet as you can, and here's your secondary sniper rifle. those weapons are totally acceptable and fine. In this game, they give you a sight and a silencer, and they kind of tell you, do what you do. And in some situations, that doesn't really work well. Also, Modern Warfare 1 had really great scripting. This game doesn't. And as a matter of fact, this section here is so long and boring, I cut out about 90% of it. They go basically room to room through this apartment complex as I try to shoot a group of PLR guys that come after him. Or them, I should say. This goes on for like 6 minutes. No joke. Unlike multiplayer, the sniper rifle does not seem to have any bullet drop in single player. Or doesn't seem to have any bullet drop, period. So you can keep shooting, and even though it's... Ooh. That's my favorite glitch in this level. Watch the technical there, and watch the gun on the end of it. It keeps shooting despite the fact that no one's on it, and it keeps shooting in a random direction. Definitely one of those things. And these guys have trouble figuring out if they want to target my team or if they want to target me. I actually had to back away from this point a few different times to not die, because they're more accurate than I am with their assault rifles than I am with my sniper rifle. And of course, our friend Campo here is already over to Bashir's car. It's a pretty easy move. You just shoot at it and it's done. It's just a quick couple of shots. That's all it takes. There's no real damage done to the car. It just falls, it just breaks when it does that. So, there's Bashir. He went right through the windshield. He has a nice car. And I had a feeling that he wasn't real, so stabby, nothing. No interaction at all. So he is completely 100% scripted. And of course, when a guy falls out of a car dirty like that, the best idea in the world is to just drop him on the ground from 3 feet up with no assistance. I died here because I didn't quite understand what it was telling me to do. The last time through, Campo got through that little building there. I didn't realize if I was supposed to follow him or what was supposed to happen, but I had to fight these guys off. This is kind of where this mission starts to weigh on me and be a problem, because it's long, boring, defend this area kind of thing. But I figure, hey, Campo's leaving, I might as well go too. And no. Not allowed. I'm not cool enough for the Cool Kids Club. So, there's actually a couple guys I have to figure to kill out here. I have no grenades, despite the fact that there's a bunch of explodable cars, which means it would have been nice to have a couple of those at least to flush these guys out. Because there's one guy who's hiding behind a car back there, and it takes me a little while to get him because of that. Of course, I'm still not using a weapon that's kind of suited to this sort of fighting, so it becomes an issue. And I wanted to get out of there because I didn't know if that car would explode or not. Alright. And once you kill that last guy, you can move on. Eventually. Eventually the scripting works. There we go. And we're kind of home free at this point. There's just a couple more set pieces and we're done. All the stores in this mall, by the way, are video game stores that sell Frostbite, the game. If you could tell from the poor textures. So, I'm not a huge fan of this mission, as I've stated many times, and this is almost the exact reason why I'm not. This section here, and let's listen to this.
Hey, stay awake. Come on. Hey, don't die on me now. Hey, what's your name? What's your name? Hang on.
No. There is nothing more to say.
Yeah, whatever. Blackburn, lay some claymores down here. There's gonna be a lot of angry people showing up. When the enemy arrives, just blow them up.
Okay, so he tells me to lay claymores down, and eventually there's going to be a deploy defensive perimeter statement that I see, that I figure I have multiple claymores, maybe up to 6, but the game doesn't give you a count, so you have no idea, and you only get 2, just like in multiplayer, which means that I drop both my claymores, and that counts as setting up the defensive perimeter, which means these guys are scripted to open the door now. I could have probably delayed that forever if I didn't drop those claymores. But because I dropped them up there, they're basically useless, and I've screwed myself of a little bit of protection. This first part is not a really big deal. You just drop a few guys, they come in a couple waves, and it's kind of over pretty quickly. There's plenty of cover up here if you want it, and these guys have some significant trouble shooting you straight in the head. So you're kind of okay. There's one more guy down there, and after that we're just going to jump to the next movement section because I have no desire to go through all the waves of guys on camera. It takes a while.
Second floor exit doors. How copy?
Alright, so
Blackbird, you gotta relocate. Come on.
what we do here is we just go with Campo to the next game store. Every store in this mall, like I said, is a video game store. So I don't know if it's DICE doesn't have an idea of how real world works kind of thing or what. But yeah, every store you can enter sells games. So Iran must be a very gaming population. So I do something dumb here. I pick up the AK-74M and drop my silenced thermal scoped sniper rifle, figuring that I'm going to have to defend from waves upon waves of people. I don't really want to have that submachine gun as my only automatic solution. That was dumb of me, because these guys stay at a distance, and they're scripted to stay at a distance. They will not approach this store, which means I can hardly see them, because I don't have that thermal scope. And I do make an attempt to get out there a couple times, but I just can't find it because it disappeared after a while. Which means I'm stuck shooting at some guys I can't really see for a good long while. And that guy up there in particular takes about 3 or 4 minutes of me just firing at him until I hit him enough to kill him. That's not positive. That's not a positive thing at all. But that's kind of what you expect in this game. If the game wanted me to have a specific weapon set throughout the entire game, it would not give me access to other weapons at all. I know they can do that. That's what they did with the very first map. As a matter of fact, we will go back to that very first level at the very end of this game, and there will be a literal bevy of weapons on the ground available to me at any given time in a section where there were none the first time through. It's very stupid. Oh, here.
Stop the sun from rising.
Here comes our ride.
I kind of wonder if there's supposed to be some sort of animation, because all I can see is Al-Bashir basically eating GameStop floor, and I don't think that's conducive to having this conversation with us. But, you know, why would we animate that? No one gave a fuck about the rest of this game single player. Animating that would probably take like 5 minutes. Now, of course, I also believe the single player mode in this game was written in about 6 minutes, so, you know, deal with it, kind of thing. Actually, I have to say, the plotting, pacing, and just overall design of the single player story itself is so bad that it's surprising. I'm very surprised at how bad it is. First off, the fact that you start the mission, or you start the game at the very end of the game, and then everything's a flashback, means that when Dima's commander dies in the Paris mission, you have no connection to that character. And then, when they give everyone a chance to understand the connection to that guy, he does fucking nothing the entire mission. He's just like there telling you to go snipe somebody or go grab this gun. It is fucking annoying and kind of terrible that they think that that's an acceptable solution or a positive way to show why Dima cared so much that his commander died. But, you know, that's how this game works. And in the end, it finishes, it's over, it's technically competent enough. Oh, watch this, by the way. You can't climb on here. Yeah, but, you know, not too much more stupid shit happens. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next mission, where we will find out Cole is really incompetent. So, hopefully you enjoyed this, and we'll see you soon.
How did you find me? The execution video. Suleiman Suleiman, it must have been him. He said, get the bombs. He used them for leverage. And he stole them. He used me, as he uses everyone. He dog betrayed me with his plans, trains. And for that, I will get him for this. Listen! The 14th of this month, when the sun is set, Suleiman will strike. Burn in hell. All of you.
Come on! Hang in there! Come on! God damn it! We lost him. What the hell he was talking about? Hey, here's his phone. Maybe there's some good intel in here.